everyone, to Films with the Woman of My Life. My name is Brennan, and joining me tonight is Jess.
Hey guys.
And Nicole.
Hello.
And tonight we will be reviewing the 2019 film The Intruder, in theaters now.
Brand spanking new.
Yeah,
oh,
seriously.
If you've already seen Endgame 4 or 5 times and you're looking for something else, here we are. The Intruder. So The Intruder is a movie directed by Dion Taylor. I looked at some of his filmography. Nothing I've ever seen, except for, I think, Jess, you saw Traffic, right?
That sounds familiar. Who's in that?
That's Omar Epps, Paula Patton.
I'm pretty sure I did.
I feel like you saw that with Ian.
Obviously didn't leave much of an impression on her.
No.
Well, I forget everything. I forget everything movie related. Why did I see that?
I don't know. You and Ian saw it. Listen, Ian's our producer, or not producer, our music guy on the show. So he's a friend of the program. And this is written by David Lowery. Not the David Lowery who did Ghost Story and a bunch of other movies that you might have actually heard of. He did a bunch of movies that I'm not super familiar with.
How shitty is that he's the one that nobody knows?
His name is spelled different. The other one is with a W, and his is with a UGH. So he's David Lowery. He did. The only thing I've even ever heard of that he did is Star Trek V: The Final Frontier in 1989. He wrote that.
Oh, wow.
So, and this stars, let me just explain the plot, and that'll reveal who this stars. It's basically 3 people. A young married couple, Scott, played by Michael Ealy, and Annie, played by Megan Good, buy their dream home in Napa Valley, unaware that the previous owner, Charlie Peck, played by Dennis Quaid, has a deadly plan to get his property back.
Oh, yes.
Correct.
What a treat.
Correct. So, if you want to see this right now, it's in theaters. Up to you. It's like a horror thriller. I'm going to go ahead and say comedy at times. So, if you want to go see it, we're going to go into spoilers now. In theaters, probably for, a little bit longer here. So we rate things at Films with the Woman of My Life on 4 criteria: the plot, the characters, the visual and sound, and the overall feel and resonance of the film. We'll just kind of get into it. I think, Jess, you were the most excited to see this. What did you think of the plot of The Intruder?
Well, the reason I think I was most excited to see this was because I kept calling it Parent Trap 2.
Yes, you kept calling it because of Dennis Quaid's involvement.
I immediately saw him, and I was like, oh, this is the sequel of The Parent Trap.
Not exactly. It's the parent trapping.
Okay,
Oh
so purely plot, nothing else, just storybook plot. I'll talk about other things later, but just the plot, I think I'm going to give it a 4.
Oh my god!
Just the plot, nothing else. Nothing else. Just as if nothing else existed, just the storyline. I don't know, I thought the storyline was cool. It's original, which I think a lot of movies now aren't. They're usually books or something adapted of before.
Before we get too far into it, there's a lot of movies that have done this before.
Original in my eyes, I guess. I don't know. I like the plot. I like the idea. Someone haunting a house that they once owned and they can't step away from. I thought that was cool, and they kept telling him to go away, and he kept coming back. And I don't know. I liked how suspenseful it became at the end. There were definitely boring parts the first 3 quarters, but the last quarter I definitely was glued to it, and that was a thriller part it had a lot of jump scares in it.
Oh man, I can't wait to get into this more with Jess.
Okay, Nicole, we'll start with the setup. The setup of these. Why don't, Nicole, you explain some of the setup, and because we just saw it tonight, we're pretty fresh, so explain a little bit of the setup and then give your rating based on that.
Okay. Yeah, so this starts with a young couple who's looking for their dream home, and I think they live in Los Angeles, or San Francisco. They live in San Francisco. And it shows them going to this house that they want to see that's up for sale. It looks like it's being sold by the owner, so there's no realtor or anything like that. So they get to the house, and they just politely let themselves into the property. And they're just observing the outside, and then they hear a gunshot. So they're already kind of spooked out a little bit. And then they see Dennis Quaid come around with a dead deer.
Yeah, it's like venison.
And a shotgun, yeah. Says some weird shit like, you guys like venison, not even knowing who these people are. And then all of a sudden he goes, let's take a look at the house. Like, how does he know what these people want? How did they know that this house was for
I assume
sale?
the house was up for sale. I mean, we're not told this. But I just kind of go with it at the beginning here, because I'm like, all right, maybe there was a for sale sign I didn't see. I don't know, whatever.
Okay.
Fine. He's very friendly.
It's really tucked away in Napa Valley's forest, so it's whatever. So he brings them all around into the house, and it's a beautiful old house with a lot of antiques and a lot of really neat knickknacks and all. And the woman, this is her dream. Like, she loves it. And the husband is a little skeptical, but when he hears the price, he's like, oh, we're not getting this. So they're leaving, and Dennis Quaid's like, let me throw in a little something. You get all this fancy shit for less money, and they're like, sold. So
the wife is like, sold. The guy is like, fine. Like,
right. Now, the reason that he's selling this house is because his wife has passed away from cancer, and he's like, I'm going to go move to Florida with my daughter, who wants me to come stay. So it's time for me to take the next step and move on. So we finally get to the scene where they're moving in. They've got their moving company and all that stuff, and they are just so elated. And they're saying their goodbyes to, I don't even remember his name, Dennis Quaid, Charlie
Peck.
Saying goodbye to Charlie. We hope you do well on your trip to Florida. And he's off. And one of my favorite scenes is coming up. My favorite scene is this ridiculous, out of place, horrid sex scene.
Oh my God. The one
on
in the kitchen?
The one on the countertop.
Oh my gosh.
With this weird soul music playing in the background. It's so out of place. It's so, like, thrown in, really bizarre. Anywho, This little blurb right here is leading us into the plot, which is that they seem to be having Charlie pop up quite often around the house. He was supposed to have left for Florida by now, and the events that lead up to him being around more than they want. So, plot only, I give the plot like, oh my God, I don't even know, like a 2. It makes sense, but the execution is just horrific. It's one of the funniest bad things that we've ever seen, I think. So,
all right. So I think for the plot, just if we're going pure plot, kind of.
I know it's hard to like pick apart this movie because
of the
I don't know.
way
I feel like. Yeah.
If we're gonna go,
there's so much.
If we're gonna go pure plot, oh, it's tough because I like to throw writing into this part. If I threw writing into this, it would be like, it'd be like nothing. It'd be like a 1.5. It'd be horrible. But I'm gonna give it like a 3 because it's a simple plot, and I like the, I guess, Charlie character here in the beginning. I like how weird he is, and I like how overly friendly but also nefarious he seems. I guess who I like in this flip-flops around a lot because it's basically Scott, Annie, and Charlie for the majority of the movie. We also get their friend Mike and his wife briefly, like in parts, but for the most part, it's them 3. So, like, yeah, in the beginning here, they're city people. Michael Ealy's Scott gets a promotion. He's like a ad exec. Annie is like a writer for some women's magazine.
Just throwing that out there.
Yeah, the way they
so
describe
basically
it's
like no job.
pretty cheesy.
It's like an episode of House Hunters where these people have ridiculous jobs and their budget is so expensive. Like, where did they get all that money?
Yeah, like I'm a top 10 Etsy person. Like it's that. Like that's what these jobs feel like. They feel like these ridiculous jobs that like 8 people in the world have, and they just happen to be them. But that's fine. You know, they're characters in a movie. We have to follow the people we are given. Yeah, the beginning here, they're kind of getting to know each other. Charlie is definitely making some weird advances on Annie, and Scott can tell and does not like it. He doesn't like the vibe of the house, but Annie loves it for some reason. It's got vines overgrown all over the place.
It's a spooky looking house.
It's a very weird looking
house. I thought it was so weird how the bottom was so modern. And like at the first scene they show the house, and I'm like, oh my gosh, the kitchen is nice. Like, this is cool. And then it just got like so antique real fast.
Yeah, the whole house is like a hodgepodge of weirdness. The front looks like I thought they were going to like an abandoned house. That was like, oh, why are they going here? Like, this looks like something that was left 100 years ago, and now there's shit growing all over it. And then they go inside, and yeah, it's got like a really nice kitchen and dining room. And then they go to like some of the other rooms, and it looks like 80s wallpaper. And like, it all kind of has a purpose, I guess, because Charlie's like explaining like, my wife, we haven't changed this room since, my wife made it like this. And, but like, why do they have such a nice kitchen then? And then the house is also like got vines growing through it. Like, I don't really, whatever. It's kind of inconsistent, all that. But I want to talk about the writing real quick before we go into the rest of it. The writing feels like a 15-year-old exchange student who never spoke English came to America and from whatever country and didn't speak English and was like, all right, you have to write a horror movie. And all he had grown up on was reruns of Full House. And they were like, all right, reruns of Full House, 15-year-old foreign exchange student, write an American horror story. And this is the script he made, because that's the writing in this is complete nonsense. It is absurdly.
Wait, so this is I have to completely agree with you on this.
How?
I was going to talk about this more in the characters part.
Okay, so let's go into the characters. There's 3 characters, and Jess, we started with you. We'll go into you next. What do you think of our 3 characters, and talk about the writing a little bit?
All right, so this acting was terrible. This is like the worst acting I've ever, like, probably, it didn't feel like I was in theaters. It felt like I was watching something on Netflix that, like, nobody knows about.
It got dumped there.
The acting was so bad. I'll probably give it a 2 just because of Charlie, and he like brought the 1 up to a 2, but the acting was terrible.
He's so weird and crazy. Like,
yeah, and I mean he is like, if you're doing a horror film, he played the part well. Like, I liked him, but the friends, the couple, like, their acting was just so bad.
Oh, the one friend, the Mike. He's the fucking worst. He's so corny.
That guy never acted in his whole life. He never acted before.
He should have been like the intern or something, like his first role. So if you like ever watch a scary movie, you would automatically sense that Mike was gonna die. Like, I knew that straight off the bat when I first saw him, and I'm like, yeah, he's definitely gonna die, and he did. But yeah, the acting was so bad. Like, when Scott tried to, like, at the very beginning, like, talk about his wife and, like, how much he loved Annie, and he's basically like, whatever Annie wants, Annie gets. I'm just like, this is so fake and forced and bad.
I love you, I love you, I love you. That was his speech at the party of the thing. Like, what the fuck is that? That's nothing.
Like, I can't even describe how bad, like, any of that is.
I wish I could remember more of the lines, because they were horrible. They're just so they're horrible.
The whole scene, like, okay, when we're like moving through this like middle part, and they have the Thanksgiving dinner, and
what is this Thanksgiving dinner? There's no family. It's just the 4 friends and the weird guy who sold them the house. What?
And they go outside. The guy goes outside for a cigarette, and Charlie follows him, and this most awkward showdown happens with nothing said. If it's just like a common thread of they hate each other for what reason?
Because of the conversation at
the
dinner.
Cigarette. Because of the cigarette that went out. Because remember, the friend was over when they first moved in.
Yeah, no. It was because Mike was knocking the house. He was like, "This house sucks."
Yeah, he was like, you can blow out this room here, add this, and you can see Charlie's blood boil as he's saying all that.
Yeah, now he's got a vengeance. Oh wait, I hate to go back, but
no, let's jump around a little bit in the middle here, because there's a lot of good stuff.
We'll talk about. I think we should talk about the best of the worst here. One of the things that we picked up that was so funny was when they were walking through the house originally, when they were purchasing it, when they were taking a look at this fanciful tapestry.
So I thought the tapestry would come back again in the movie. It seems so different.
Yes, that's what it is. Yeah, when he comes back for Thanksgiving to visit, and he's taking him through all the restorations they've done in the house, and he walks him through, and Dennis Quaid notices the tapestry's missing. Oh shit. Shit's going down.
Oh my god, and the camera shot in that is horrible. This is one of the things I had to mention to you before we left the movie. I was like, it's that like ear pitch music where it's like but the camera's not moving. It's just static staring at them. Like it's not zooming in or like shaking. It's just static, and you just see the guy's face. He's just grumpy looking, and it's just it's so horrible.
That's so good. It's so good. So now there's suspicion growing from with Charlie. Okay, and Scott's like, oh man, something's really weird.
Just Scott's suspicion. Annie thinks he's like the friendliest guy ever, even though he like mowed their lawn and like comes over every day when he's not invited.
So the next tip off,
and with her bad acting, I don't even have the words.
Her bad haircut, you mean? Her fucking coconut head haircut.
Bad acting.
Wait, now the next tip off that Scott gets is he's at the coffee shop.
Oh my god, this fucking
He's
character.
at the coffee shop.
He can't even act either.
Oh my god. Okay, this guy's standing there. This guy's standing there in the coffee shop. He's like, hey, you look familiar. I'm blah blah from like a mile down the road. He's like, oh, thanks for saying hi. How are you? He's like, what do you think of Charlie's house? He's like, don't believe everything behind that mask. He murdered his wife.
It's like, well, I gotta go. My coffee's ready. Like, that's literally, we never see him again.
And then he was like, and by the way, his wife died in the house too, just to let you know.
Oh my god. It's like so out of place. Like, I feel like they were supposed to cut that scene out, but they forgot and they left it in there.
No, but he had to be let know.
He had to ask his friend to investigate more.
He had to know his wife didn't die from cancer. She died under suspicious circumstances. So, 15-year-old non-English speaking foreign exchange student is like, all right, I'll have a character show up, but he doesn't know how to make him.
Typing in his typewriter,
He doesn't know how to organically make this character part of it. He's like, a coffee shop. Americans drink coffee at coffee shop, and then they have conversations there. Like that's like I can see.
God.
That's like what it feels like this scene was written as.
I love telling this story. I want to continue. I love it. So
yeah, you're doing amazing, sweetie.
Now he is like, oh shit, like I gotta investigate this. So he calls on trusty Mike, and he's like, Mike, we gotta figure this.
Shane-spoken Mike.
we gotta figure this out. So he goes back to work. And he recruits this guy that's sitting in an office that's pitch black except for like the light from the laptop. There's nothing on the desk. And he's like, oh man, I've been searching and I haven't really found a lot, except that Charlie has this daughter that doesn't have the same name anymore, and she lives in Florida to get away from him because there was a murder.
No, she doesn't live in Florida.
No, she lives in Maine.
She lives in Maine,
Well, they don't know that yet because...
Even though she knows the daughter changed the name, they don't know where they live. But alright, fine. But here's her phone number, also.
And they have all this information, and the guy's like, by the way, make sure Mike's in at work tomorrow because Mike's been missing. Where's Mike been? Well, we learned prior to that Mike got fucking killed. Okay,
I called
just
that.
out of the blue. You did. Out of the blue, he goes to spy. Am I missing something here? I feel like I am.
Just keep going, and I'll cut back because
what about the
I don't
part
want to
where
ruin your
he
train.
got run off the road?
That's right. Okay, so the whole
there
reason
it is.
Mike gets killed, this is the reason Mike gets killed, because one night, Scott's running in this electric silver puffy coat, and he... clearly visible and reflective, but somehow gets hit by a truck. Okay, and he falls into
purpose.
He falls into a ditch, and he ends up waking up in the hospital, and has a concussion, and is watching TV after the concussion. But anywho, this is when he enlists Mike to come help him. So that's when they find out all this crazy information, and Mike goes to spy and wants to see if everything's okay because Scott tells him, I need you to check on Anne, or Annie, whatever. So Mike shows up to the house peeping Tom through the window instead of just fucking knocking on the door. I don't understand.
He's in like the woody backyard. It's like trying to look at that angle.
Hold on, before all this happened, why is Charlie in the house? It's because he brought over a pizza, and oh my god, I love this. She was taking a shower, and she comes down with like a bunch of towels on. She's like, opens the door. Oh, Charlie, you scared me. Charlie's like, I brought you an extra large pizza with all the toppings. Just pick off what you don't like. What? Excuse me?
That's a good idea.
Because I heard that your husband got into an accident, but like, where the fuck did he hear that from?
Exactly. And she's just like, oh, thank you for the pizza. You're not going to make me eat this all myself, are you? And invites him into the fucking house.
When that happened, when I was in the theater, everyone, the audience was like, what the hell?
Oh,
ours
so
too.
did
that too?
Yeah.
Yeah, ours is a full theater, and they were like, I think Nicole and I were the only two laughing throughout, but everyone else was like doing the, what are you fucking doing? Like,
Yeah, my theater did that too.
Yeah, we got Mike now, peeping Tom, and
wait, and this is
Charlie's
also
like,
when Scott has told Annie multiple times, do not let Charlie in the house anymore.
oh yeah, she's so stupid. Like,
well, remember, Annie is mad at Scott too because he texted her. He didn't call
too
her.
much shit
He
going on.
texted her.
There's too much. Oh my
So
God.
much stupid shit, it's hard to keep track.
I wish that I had a notebook in the theater so I could have wrote down the timeline, because this makes no fucking sense, but you need the timeline of how this goes down.
No, this had already happened. This has already happened before when Charlie helped Annie hang up all the Christmas decorations, and she invited him in a different time, because basically the trend is he goes to work, Charlie comes over, Charlie does stuff around the house, and Annie's just like, yeah, he's just a helpful old man, and let's invite him in for wine, and like, I don't, like, it doesn't make any fucking sense.
When Annie talks to Scott about his past, and all of a sudden, like, for us, in the middle of the movie, he goes, baby, you know I cheated on you before, but it was only one time. Don't you forget? Or whatever he said. I'm like, this was so nonchalant. They just threw it in.
And
What?
she was like, you know the last time you texted me, it was when you cheated on me. I'm like, what?
my God.
What kind of plot device is that?
Oh my God.
Hold on. All right, so
Too
did
much.
you rate the characters? I forgot.
Oh, I'm just going to give him a 5 out of just pure stupidity, but I'm going to give them a 1 because it was terrible.
Yeah, I'm gonna give him a 2 because, like Jess said, Charlie's insanity raises the whole thing. But no, every other character in this is either stupid or makes no sense or both. Like, it's just nonsense constantly
Even if
happening.
they made no sense, they're acting. They had no skills to even try to make it sense.
No, like, I think these are below average actors with a horrible script and average directing, below average. Like, it's a mess.
Megan Good is like way beyond her years now. Like, she was popular way back, and now she's just like, oh no.
Dennis Quaid should have given everyone lessons like beforehand.
Well, I mean, he's been kind of washed up since, I don't know, Day After Tomorrow. Like, he
Parent Trap.
isn't he isn't exactly had a it was Parent Trap. No, Day After Tomorrow was after Parent Trap. So but so yeah, we've talked about the middle part and how everyone is just stupid. It's stupid.
Yeah, so at the point now where like he comes back from the hospital from his concussion, and he's like, you know, there's shit going on with Charlie, and like, you really can't trust him anymore. She finally is like, I believe you.
Yeah, after all the weird shit he's been doing.
Yeah.
Oh my God! Do we get the scene? Do we have the scene already where Charlie she's taking the shower and Charlie's like in the bathroom and he's like taking his clothes off, and
I think that's coming up. Yeah, I think that's like right around this same
his
time.
like sexual urge and fantasy all of a sudden just like shot up.
At the Thanksgiving scene, he had this like rage mode fake dream sequence where he smashed the bottle and stuff, and then I thought that the shirt coming off was also one, but it wasn't. It was real.
That one was real.
Oh my God. Oh yeah. So he's he's in the house, and she's saved by the phone call, and I forget. I don't even know what the fucking phone call was about, but he's starting to be very visible in this house. We get another weird bear skin rug sex scene, and it's just
I forgot about that one.
Yeah, it's got like soul.
Oh, by the way, it's so
music in the
PG-13.
background.
We see him with his shirt off, but from the waist up only, and then she's wearing like a one-piece bathing suit, literally. Like it is the most
I felt like
PG-13
they
thing
knew
I've ever
this-
seen.
I feel like they knew like the movie wasn't going anywhere. It's like, let's just add sex so the audience likes it.
But not
they
like
were so
actually
thrown
sex,
in.
like just like laying on each other with soul music or rap music playing. There's a lot. There was a lot of weirdly.
Oh yeah, I was
music.
gonna get to that when we talked about the music and the picture.
Well, I think we're getting close to the turn of the movie, so let's talk about the visual and sound a little bit. And Jess, what'd you think of that?
Okay, so horror movie wise, like all that tauntingness, I thought that was pretty good, but the R&B, I don't know, I wasn't feeling it. It felt forced. If that's what the director wants, like, that's fine. It didn't affect me too much, but I guess it was just not my cup of tea. Like, I guess there was the R&B, like, when he was running. Like, it wasn't running music either. It was kind of just...
Nothing. It just didn't. Nothing seemed to fit the tone of like this eerie.
Yeah, it just felt like someone was like, "Oh, I really like this song. Let me put it in this scene."
That's what it felt like. He was just like, "I'm just gonna play like my workout soundtrack, and like that'll be the score."
But exactly the music with the jump scares, that was fine. That works for it. It was just the R&B.
In like the last 20 minutes or whatever.
Yeah, the last quarter of the movie I thought was fine. I liked the last quarter, but we already discussed the first 3 quarters.
I felt that in the very opening scene, it was like hip-hop, little bit upbeat music with the car coming around the curve. I was not expecting anything like that.
I thought we were in the wrong movie. A little more somber.
Yeah, I thought it was a little more somber. Like, this is how it was going to be, a little more dark. But it had some really out-of-place music. It was really weird.
Jess, the beginning, the first like 2 or 3 minutes when they're driving and they're in like the penthouse or whatever, it reminded me of Superfly from last year. That's what it reminded. I'm like, is this gonna? I'm like, I didn't think this was gonna be Superfly. Is this gonna be Superfly? Like,
but we love that movie.
I love that movie, but probably for similar reasons. Like, I mean, this kind of feels like a music video director kind of guy. I don't know what Dion Taylor has done other than Traffic, but did you guys give your ratings on like the visual and sound?
I don't know. Probably, I think the visuals. I don't know. I have to think about it. The visuals were cool.
What visuals? What of what?
Well, there's a movie. There are visuals.
The skyline.
The house.
The skyline.
The sweaty Dennis Quaid.
Like, yeah, the woods were cool and like all this. Okay, I'll give it like I don't know, between a 2 and a 2.5 because the music was just so bad. I'll give it a 2.5, benefit of the doubt.
All right.
Oh, well, I give it like a 1.5. I guess the best part was that underground layer that we get to a little bit, where we come to like the
the last quarter redeemed itself for the movie for me.
Yeah, so we come to this turn of events where we learn like
define redeemed.
I mean, it wasn't going too well. I was kind of bored, but then once the thriller part actually happened, I was more hooked to it.
We might be watching this differently, but Nicole, go ahead and explain how this scene goes.
Yeah, so Charlie is like in the house now, and the other guy comes home, her husband, and it's like he has tied Annie up. Like, he's full on serious now. He's like, I love you, I need you, and she's like, oh shit, here we go. So she found this like secret trap door behind her linen closet where she falls down and sees that Dennis Quaid's been fucking living under there. That's how he just pops up out of nowhere. It's like a tunnel from the shed to the linen closet. So she's running in there. She's not running. She's fucking walking so slow through here, and she's
making
Mike's
horrible decisions the whole time.
She sees, Mike's frozen body in a fucking freezer, and he's like, oh crap, I've been found out. So he ties her up and puts a tissue in her mouth as if that's going to stifle her scream, and ties her up with like bread ties. Like, this is the most ridiculous shitty thing. He does this really bizarre licking of her shirt.
Oh my gosh, that is such a weird scene. Ugh.
I was turned over in my seat laughing and kind of gagging. I was like, because he's just like,
he's
just licking up the shirt. He's
like
licking her chin. Like, I'm like, oh, what the fuck is happening?
Yeah, and that's when you know, like, he wants Annie and the house. Before I thought he, like, wanted to leverage Annie to get the house, and now I'm just like, oh no, he wants Annie and the house.
Well, he does. He says that when he's killing Mike, he says, "Oh, you're in my way, and Scott's in my way to get to Annie." So he's like swayed into that too. I think he wanted the house to begin with, but now he's swayed into wanting Annie as well to make himself whole or whatever the hell he said. But yeah. So then the guy comes home and they have some really. I can't even tell it because it's so funny.
I really wish I watched this with you guys now.
I think we would have been so obnoxious in the theaters, though, because I think we would have been the only 3 people laughing in a full theater, like, out loud. Like,
oh, probably.
So Jess, you said this is your like a part of the movie where you actually thought it was like actually kind of working as far as like it intended to work. Talk a little bit about like what you thought was going right here, I guess.
Cool. So I thought the music was on key here when Charlie just pops up. Like, I did jump a few times there, and I thought like the whole secret passageway was cool, and then following each other, and then when Scott came home. And they're just beating the shit out of each other. I don't know. I was just in it. Even though they both should have been dead the whole time. Scott fell down, like, the balcony.
The guy had a concussion, and he's, like, beating him up, and he's
glass.
fine.
Oh, the fucking bloody glass. So at the end here... I've already talked about the passageway, the weird licking scene, which is always a good one to remember. And I mean, Scott and Charlie basically have like a 3-way fight here. Scott and Annie are, I mean, not much. This is the end. Scott and Annie are huddled up in the wardrobe. I don't even know, where are they? I don't even know in the house.
They're in like a spare bedroom, like behind
the one
door.
with the blood on the wallpaper. That room.
Maybe. I don't know.
The room that the wife got killed in is where they're hiding now.
Oh, we didn't talk about the phone call when the daughter called back.
Oh my god. Alright, so this is basically a guy in the coffee shop part 2. He calls back and then she picks it up. Did you kill him? What? Excuse me? Where did we leave off? Like, do you have this number in your phone already?
Young. Like, she's probably like 18 or early 20s.
I thought, like, yeah, maybe mid-20s, but maybe early 20s, but yeah, younger. But, like...
Dude, what she says is so funny. She's like, well, just so you know, if I ever see him again, I'm gonna kill him. You know why? Because he murdered my mom. He's a monster. Don't ever call me again. Bye.
I'm like, all right, weird, useless exposition from random character.
Lets no one... in the way of getting that house back, or something like that.
Yeah, we basically learned, like, he loves this house.
And then we
He'll
realized
kill his
that
wife
Charlie,
for the house.
Charlie had to sell the house because he was in so much debt.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
I love the explanation. He's like, well, I was an engineer, and I built bridges and roads, and I put my soul into them. It's almost like they had a soul too, and I just love the structures. Like, and so that's like his reasoning for defending this house with his life is that he thinks has a soul that he's meant to be with. It's ridiculous. It makes fucking no sense. But we're at the end here. Dennis Quaid is shooting a shotgun everywhere.
Meanwhile, Scott is deadly afraid of guns and will not go anywhere near
Scott's afraid of guns because of another stupid line of exposition where he sees Charlie with a gun on his property after he already bought the house. He's like, "No, Charlie, you can't have a gun here. My brother was killed in a drive-by. We grew up on the streets, and now I can't have guns on my house." That's like literally what he says. Like, I changed like 3 words. Like, he literally says it like that. I'm like, not how you dole out exposition. It's all the exposition here where we have to actually carry the plot is doled out in the most sophomorish, amateurish way I've ever seen in a movie. Like, this is someone who just doesn't know how to actually write a movie. Like, it doesn't make any fucking sense.
Oh my god.
Like, it's literally written like a TV movie from like 1983. Like, it's just ridiculous.
If Dennis Quaid wasn't in this movie would be nothing.
I mean, it was a packed theater. I mean, it'll probably make its money back. I don't know what the budget. $8 million was the budget. Seems
this
high.
This is for people that want to go to the movies but don't want to see Avengers.
Yeah, the one movie that's not playing, or the one theater that's not playing Avengers is, going to be playing Intruder. So, Dennis Quaid's got the gun. Charlie, Scott and Annie team up on Charlie, get the gun away from him. He hits him with the bat. Scott hits him with the bat, and that fucks him all up, and he's pointing the gun at Charlie, and he's like, you can't shoot it, you don't have a bullet. And then he's like, oh yeah? Check your pocket.
He said, you're too much of a pussy.
Oh yeah, he said, you're too much of a pussy first. And then he said, check your pocket, and then he feels his pocket. We don't see anything, we just see him.
Because now he does magic, too. I just don't fucking...
Yeah, I don't know when
I was
he got
thinking myself,
the bullet.
did he count it? Like, I don't know how
it's a shell. It's a shotgun shell, but regardless, he's like, you had one left, and he's like, like he's like roaring like a monster. And then we get the fucking worst lot. The movie ends like right here. You see him pointing the barrel down at Charlie, and he goes,
It's Annie on the phone saying, can you come to my address? My husband just shot an intruder.
And then she hangs up the phone, even though you're supposed to stay on the phone with 911. But all right. And then,
she's like, sick him, baby, get him.
And then, hold on, before. That's another thing earlier. We have to get a restraining order against Charlie. And then, literally, he picks up the phone and goes, hello, police. I would like a restraining order.
I think we need to get back. I think we need to come back to the best moments like this after we finish up, because there's so many.
Well, yeah, because, like, we're at the end. He says, go to hell. Shoots him. And then we get thrown into another rap song with weird images of the house coming in.
And it's it. Director. The credits. Boom.
So, yeah, and, like, we're in Feel in Residence now. So let's talk about any lingering moments we want to talk about there. I don't even know. Nicole, you seem to... Yeah, go ahead. What do you have left to talk about this movie?
Yeah, one of the best parts. Okay. I said that with every part that I talk about, but seriously,
this is the worst show we've ever done, for sure. This is just all over the place.
when the very first night that they get the house, they have their little like backyard barbecue, and Mike, the best friend, and his wife come over, and as they sleep over, and he's leaving the next morning, and there's a cigarette burn in his car, and he's like, oh my god, I don't know how the hell this got here. I don't smoke in my car. This thing is my baby. So Scott's like, you better stop smoking in there. So he gets in the car, and Mike's wife is like, now what are we supposed to do, Mike? And he said something like, shut your butterfly lip.
I don't remember what he said. He's like, shut your beautiful lip.
Oh, yeah,
something like that. I'm like,
butterfly lips.
Excuse me? What line is that?
Mike was so bad.
Great. All right. So, Jess, do you have any other moments to talk about here at the end? Before the end, I guess.
I don't know. I feel like we talked about them all.
At the end, when he's like roaring like a lion, I'm dead. Like,
oh yeah, she got stabbed, and he like staggers away. And he's like, ah! Ah! He's like staggering away to get his gun.
And when he comes over at one time, and they're putting up the Christmas decorations, and he's like, oh, have you seen the Christmas decorations? And they're both like, no. He's like, let me show you. So they go over and see it. He goes, let me help you bring it in the house. And Scott's like, no thanks. And Annie's like, yeah, come in. Like, when is she gonna fucking learn?
Well, she learns like way, way, way at the end, because before that she just keeps letting him in and like giving him food and wine and shit, because he's just a lonely old guy, you know. He's just looking for a friend.
Oh wait, we didn't talk about the scene where they meet Charlie at dinner, and then Scott just drunkenly says like,
"Oh, at the bar,
do not, yeah." Like, do not like lock eyes on my wife again. Like, don't come near us.
Stay away from my wife. And then he gives him like the cheek slap. He like grabs his face and just a little like.
And it came out of nowhere too. Yeah. Like they were like, let's go to another bar, and they obviously go to the motel bar that he's staying at, and you're not going to see him there. Come on.
Or is he?
Yeah.
Yeah, because he's never stayed there.
Oh my god, this.
Yeah. Also, if he's never stayed there, does he? Yeah. Does he just go there every night in case they choose to go there to see if he's actually there?
No, like, because he's obviously watching when they go out, and he must have heard them or saw that they were going out and followed them. He's got a truck.
That's just fucking crazy. But
And like throughout the whole movie, they were both saying like, "Doesn't it sound like the house is creaking?" And then they're both like, "Ah, it's just like an old house." And really, it's him in the basement walking
it's
around,
him, yeah,
doing
constantly
whatever.
moving around the house, and yeah. All right, so I think we got it. I think we got all the scenes out of there. I'll give my feel in resonance real quick. I mean, I feel nothing except for to me. I mean, I'm gonna at this point. I'm treating it like a comedy. I'll call it like a 3-5 as comedy.
Oh, God, I feel that way too.
And a 1 for a thriller or a horror. Like I'm never scared. The jump and I'm susceptible to jump scares. Never works. Not one time do I jump in this
Okay,
movie.
if you saw this by yourself, you probably feel a little different. It's because it's always different seeing with your friends, and you're both are laughing the entire time.
I mean, you did jump when we saw Greta, and that has no fucking jump scares.
Oh my gosh,
to be fair. So yeah, if it's a comedy, it's definitely a decent grade. But like taking it seriously as a horror thriller, no, it's a 1. I mean, Jess, what did you think?
Let's see, I'll probably give it a 2.5. I had a few legit jumps. Yeah, and I again, it's the last quarter that I feel like redeemed itself. I don't know why, but I thought that just locked me in.
Nicole?
I think that me and Brennan are assholes enough to find this as a comedy. So I have to agree exactly with what you said. As what it's advertised as, it's a total 1. It's just a flop. But when you look past that and you realize how many times you laughed in the whole thing, it's a 3.5 comedy for sure.
So, and like, let's get to the recommendations then, since we're here at the end already. We've talked about kind of our favorite parts, most of which were humorous, but there were some parts that, were I think the basement stuff is interesting, as far as like actually, what they were going for. But yeah, Jess, would you recommend The Intruder?
I want to, but the acting was so bad. I don't think I could honestly say, you should watch this. This is probably just a very, very light recommend, if you don't mind just horribly acting people.
All right, so a very light recommend from Jess. What do you think, Nicole?
Oh, totally recommend this. I totally recommend this because you're either going to like it because it's a little scary and you think it's like creepy and weird, or you're going to like it because you laugh so fucking hard at it because it's so bad that you can't stop. I wish there was more. I want another one because I loved it.
A sequel.
Yes.
Charlie comes back.
It would be, how bad. I mean, he died, but like they could bring back. Oh, if they bring back his brother, Randy Quaid. Oh my God, I would be dying.
Come on, that would be it. You'd be.
I'm Charlie's brother,
God.
Hector Peck. like, I love this house too. Like, oh my God. No, I also recommend it. This is the movie I've been looking for. The so bad it's good. This is it. This is when I always talk about other movies that we'd watch, and I'm bored and I'm upset that it's how it is. This is the perfect. Like, it's poorly written, poorly acted, mediocrely directed, makes no sense, and that's why it's fucking fun. Like, it's a fun movie that I laughed at throughout. I laughed at this more than most, comedies these days. And that's not the intent, obviously. This is supposed to be a horror, thriller, freak you out movie. Especially if you look at the trailers, it's supposed to look scary.
And let me tell you, when I am in a movie theater, sometimes I've said this in past reviews. I get really upset when people are ruining the movie for me with their commentary in the movie theater. But this one, the woman sitting next to me, she must have said it about 9 or 10 times. She goes, "This mofo is crazy," talking about Dennis Quaid, and it made me like
this little old lady you're sitting
cracking
next to, kept saying
up
over and over.
the whole. Oh my God,
this
mofo's crazy. I was like dying. It really enhanced my experience. I have to say, it was hysterical.
So yeah, this is the perfect, like, get a couple friends together, have some drinks, and watch it at home when it comes out, and just laugh at it. Yeah, somehow this is a recommend for all of us across the board. While I don't think any of us are saying this is an actually good movie,
No.
It's a fun movie. And, I would rather a fun, bad movie than an almost good, boring movie. So I recommend, at some degree, for some reason, across the board, for The Intruder. So that's that. And coming up, we have some more streaming reviews before we get to the big juicy stuff towards the end of May and the beginning of June. A lot of good theater reviews. We already talked about it. Aladdin, Ma, Godzilla, Rocket Man, Toy Story 4 coming out next month.
A lot of goodies.
Yeah, all kinds of stuff we haven't even decided yet. So if you guys want us to review anything specifically, it's Films with the Women in My Life on Facebook, Films Women Pod on Twitter, and you can always reach out to me on Instagram. I am Brennan_podhost. Jess, Nicole, do you guys have anything else to add before we wrap up this week?
Make sure you lock all the doors in your house. The intruder might come in.
Yeah, you don't want Dennis Quaid coming in and offering you a large pizza with all the toppings. You can pick them off yourself.
This one was definitely a blast. I would really be interested in hearing what some of our listeners think about this one, because this one is a talker.
Yeah, I don't know how many people are going to see this, but if you do, yeah, please let us know what you think, if you're on our side, or if you think it was just boring bad, or if you actually legitimately liked it, and please explain why, because it's not a good movie. But thank you, Jess and Nicole, for being on.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
And until next time, everyone, this is Brennan signing off, saying thanks for listening, and enjoy your movies.
Thanks for listening to Films with the Women in My Life. If you enjoyed being a listener in our life, subscribe to us on iTunes. Please leave a review, as it helps more people find the show. Like us on Facebook at Films with the Women in My Life. Follow us on Twitter at FilmsWomenPod. And check out our website, filmswiththewomen.libsyn.com. That's filmswiththewomen.libsyn.com. Original music for the show was created by Ian Burke. Original artwork created by Nicole D'Alessio. This show is produced by Brennan Snyder. Thank you again for listening, and enjoy your movies.